The Eurozone remains weak and uneven as the euro area recovery almost ground to a halt in the first quarter of this year. This week, Eurozone GDP numbers are scheduled for release and growth is expected to be bleak. I'm joined on the line with James Warren to discuss his forecasts for the outcome of today's Italian and Portuguese inflation rate data releases. James, welcome. Figures show Italy has officially fallen into recession. What is your forecast for today's inflation rate data release and its effect on Italy's already unstable economy?
Today's inflation came out at 0.0 annually, and the cause of the inflation, the stagnation in inflation, is mostly from weak domestic demand and generally just weak inflation in the euro area as a whole, which is depressing import prices. For the whole, Italy has had really weak growth for quite a while now, and the weak inflation is going to make it a lot harder for Italy to reach its debt and deficit targets, and this will reduce its fiscal space to be able to provide an expansion if needed. There's furthermore problems that the supply side reforms that they're looking to bring in, these will also add deflationary pressure over the life of these, but these are definitely needed to restore growth over the longer run.
Portuguese data over the course of the first quarter of 2014 has been particularly poor. What expectations do you have for the inflation rate data released today, and what is your long-term forecast for the country?
Portuguese data, Portuguese inflation data came out at minus 0.7%, which was broadly expected by us. It's again a very similar story to Italy. We have obviously the weak imported inflation from the euro area as a whole, but also weak domestic demand, which is putting downward pressure on prices. In the near term for Portugal, we are likely to see that uncertainty from the financial system will weigh on growth marginally. But as this clears up, this shouldn't affect GDP growth too much. We're expecting that unemployment will continue to fall, and this will help households, should give them a bit more room to manoeuvre, and this will lead to an increase in consumption over time, which in turn, given a general reduction in uncertainty, should lead to investment. So while the recovery for Portugal will take time, we are expecting it will get there by about 2015.
The Eurozone is having a tough time, with geopolitical tensions consistently affecting growth and currency. Is there a possible route to success for the struggling economy?
For the Eurozone, we have the second and third largest economies really struggling in France and Italy. And this is obviously going to affect the euro area as a whole. But what we think is that there's possible ways of alleviating this a bit. The monetary policy from the ECB with their targeted long-term refinancing operations may help to increase investment across the euro area, which is much needed. There needs to be a general balance in the pace of reforms against the short-term needs and the deflationary pressures and debt concerns against the longer-term aims of trying to just free up labour markets and generally improve efficiency across the euro area. And finally, general rebalancing across the euro area of countries who have rather large current account surpluses, beginning to draw these down, and maybe allowing those with deficits to reduce their deficits and increase their exports.
Well, that's all we've time for. Thank you, James, for all your insights. Click back tomorrow when Durham McDermott will be looking at the Spanish economy. Goodbye for now.